Hi guys, it's Cam here from IDTA. Just wanting to do a bit of market analysis because we've seen quite an imbalanced sell-off in the last few days in the market, and there's a lot of panic around. We saw a lot of the biggest hit markets yesterday in the stock market was the tech index, which is the XLK, and also the Mag 7, which is obviously the big the Mag 7 ETF, which is the big tech stocks like Nvidia's, Facebook's, and all those guys. So that took a bit of a hit yesterday. So let's have a look and see where we're at with the markets and just some of the key levels we're going to look for today on both the S&P and the Nasdaq. So I've got a 30-minute chart here now up, and I've just run a profile over yesterday's regular trading hours. One interesting thing to note yesterday was Europe did a very nice strong sell-off, and the market never came back up into yesterday's gap. So the gap would have been up here yesterday. So the market has gapped down, and we never refilled the gap from yesterday. So that's a fairly bearish move, right? Typically, US market will try and go back and retest the gap. 70% of the time it'll go and close the gap and then cross over the gap. But this particular day, the market never came back to the gap and it just sold away. So this is the regular trading hours profile, and this is just a standardized volume profile. And you can see the market spent a lot of time down here. So this is what I call a B type profile, and the reason being is you got this double B distribution down through here. So you had a fair amount of volume there. That was actually the point of control, which is an area of interest to be hit today, 5665 on the S&P, and then you've got this other profile down here as well. So one of the key levels that I'd be looking at today would be looking at the 50% of regular RTH trading yesterday. I'd want to see the market get back above here, 5641, show the market with a bit of strength, and I think we may see a rally back above this level. It may take a couple of attempts to get back above it and hold, but I think with this market being so short, inventory is quite short, the market will may need to rebalance before it then sells off again. We've got some pretty significant turning points coming up as well this week as well. We've got obviously equinox on the 21st, and we've got the eclipse, lunar eclipse on the 14th of March. So there's some pretty key dates there to look for major corrections or turns in the market. So that's one of the levels I'd be looking at, is that 50% from the RTH. Now for the new traders, the RTH is the regular cash market hours. So you can tell it's the RTH because if you look down at the volume, you can see most of the volume is traded in the US cash market hours. And that was the opening 30-minute bar yesterday. All right. Now let's look at the daily profile, or the daily chart. So this was yesterday's sell-off. This was apparently the biggest sell-off in one day since 2022, believe it or not. And you can see up here we got 5664. That's the 50% of yesterday's entire day's trading. So I think if we can get above that first level that we've got here, which is around 5642, and then you've got that next level which kind of aligns with the point of control up here at 5666, around that area there. That's another key area of strength also. So if we get above the 50, then that'd be probably the first target back up there. All right, so that's the S&P for you. Let me bring over the other chart, which is the Nasdaq. As we can see, Nasdaq is doing very similar things to the S&P 500. So you can see here, this was yesterday's European trading. We broke out from Europe, or it's Asia. We broke out, we sort of consolidated, and then we sold off again. So you can see here, that was the profile for yesterday. So you can see we're at the point of control now from yesterday's trading. And once again, I'd probably do the same thing, run a 50% over the RTH, and just have a look and see if we can get back above that level 19586. one thing is also you want to see the market hold above yesterday's low as well. So the market could maybe come down here, pick up a bit of liquidity before going higher as well. So maybe we could get a little sell down into Europe first before we see a correction or a rally back up to this 50% level. So they're probably the key levels I'd be looking at. S&P and NASDAQ look very similar in terms of their time frames. You can see here. You can see here we had, we've had one time framing here for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 days, one time framing. So this is very, very bearish chart, and we've got, I think there is an opportunity for this to rebalance somewhat in the shorter term before we see a little bit more movement to the downside. You can see these liquidity zones here are going to be strong buying areas when we get back to these areas, but we may see a little correction or a rally before we move back down. So I'll be watching those levels. I'll be watching that 19,512, see if we can find some strength above that level. If we can't get back above that level, that to me is a fairly weak sign that we could be heading back down lower. Anyway, happy trading, guys. Don't get too stressed out in these bearish conditions. Market will. This is the great thing about being a day trader. We can be square and flat at the end of the day. We don't have to have money held in the markets overnight. So it's one of the great skills we have to develop and to bring us some daily income. So keep your head up and stay positive, and let me know if there's anything else you want me to talk about in any of these videos. Just let me know. Send me through an email, and I'm happy to give you updates on anything that's important. Thanks, everyone. Have a great day trading. Stay safe.